We remain focused on the river this week as a new exhibit at the University of New Mexico Art Museum looks at the changing Rio Grande. Taking the concept of deep time, the creators looked at the river's long history. They also took decades worth of U.S. Geological Survey flow data from the headwaters to the delta and set it to song. The project is called There Must Be Other Names for the River, and correspondent Laura Paskus spoke with one of the exhibit's three creators, longtime reporter Marisa DeMarco.
Marisa DeMarco, you're a longtime reporter, a musician, an artist. How did you and your fellow collaborators tell the story of the Rio Grande through song?
Yeah, so we were together in a class that was evaluating a concept called deep time. It was Nina Elder's class. And we were thinking about the age of the river, which is 5 million years old from its very, very beginnings, maybe like 1 million years old from the shape that we know it today, the river that we call the Rio Grande. And I was thinking maybe we could use public flow data and turn it into a graphic score for singers. So we did that work, and there was a lot of data crunching. My collaborator, Jessica Zeglin, it turned into a big math project for a couple of days, weirdly, as these things do. And Dylan McLaughlin, who also worked on the piece, helped turn that data into a score for the singers. And then what we do is when it's performed live, we have those 6 singers, each of whom is representing a data point, a place along the river where the data were collected. And we have them stand in the shape of the river, and you can kind of hear as they're singing the flows changing from year to year. Sometimes it can feel like the water is coming down the river from place to place, from the headwaters all the way to the Gulf.
So I'm curious, how did the performance of the river story and song, how did it affect you and your collaborators, the singers, and the audiences as well?
We heard so much feedback from people that they had a really powerful emotional response, because as the singers are singing this flow data, we have the years kind of passing along on a projector, so you kind of know where they are in telling this story. And I think there was some debate initially about whether we should fully do that or not to orient the audience, or if we'd rather them just experience the piece as a whole. But a lot of people in the audience were looking at those years and thinking about, oh, this is the year my child was born. This is the year I moved here. This is the year my grandfather passed. So those years, as they come through, you're having these place memories too, a time memory and a place memory of maybe what your relationship with the river was like at that point, right? I think a lot of us have gone to the river for not just exercise and beauty and enjoyment, but for reflection, for grief, for other important big moments in our lives. And so as you're looking at those years, you can kind of remember these times. And so people had a really emotional response. The singers and the artists, myself, Jessica, and Dylan, I think we all feel that piece as a tribute to the river. And so we took the singers, we've performed it indoors at National Hispanic Cultural Center and also at UNM Art Museum. But we did also take the singers down to the river to do an a cappella version of the piece with their feet in the water. And I think that performance, which was just private, there was no audience, it was just us. But I think that that felt really profound to all of us. Like, we hope that what we're expressing is connection to the river, but also gratitude, and kind of a way to honor the river. I think we felt that.
I think that really comes across in the piece. And I know I was at your initial performance at the UNM Art Museum, and I remember I found myself bracing, like knowing what was coming, you know, in the 2000s as we saw the river's levels drop so dramatically. Like I found myself really bracing and waiting to see how the singers were going to embody the river. I'm curious, you also project the river's flows in song out into the future. How did you do that?
Yeah, so there's a point where the score just kind of disappears, and the next year that comes up is next year. And the thought was to ask these people who've been rehearsing this piece over and over again, who visited the river, because part of the score instruction is that the singer should visit the river the day before it's performed, right? Who are finding this connection and who now know the data, right? Because they've been seeing this data for weeks and weeks and weeks. To then, it is part of embodying and channeling the river to then project its future. And so that's a completely improvisational segment of the piece. And it starts with the next year and it goes out a couple thousand years. Now we know that, I think what we've seen is that scientists have projected the river's future out, you know, I think 100 years or 200 years, but we're looking a little further ahead, because if you remember that the river is 1 million years old, the last 50 years or so, 40 years, where we're really starting to see the impacts of climate change is nothing. It's just the blink of an eye, right? So when you're asking them to look out a couple thousand years, even that's kind of nothing to the river, right? So we're trying to imagine time more from the perspective of the river. And I know that the river doesn't have a perspective, but thinking about the age of it outside of us and thinking about it as an entity beyond us, right?
So can you tell us, where can people see this exhibit? How can they be involved and possibly contribute or be a part of this as well?
Yeah, so we initially planned to make it a physical installation. We were asked to make it a physical installation at UNM Art Museum, but pandemic, you know, got in the way of a lot of those plans. So it's at othernamesfortheriver.com is where you can find the piece. We made a web-based installation, and we are asking that if people want to, they can contribute. There's a page there called Tributaries, and the idea is that people can tell a story. They could follow the score. We have the score available there if they want to sing it. They can, there's a hotline, so if you don't have time to like record yourself with a phone and send an email about it, you can just call a phone number and tell us a story. Depending, of course, on your access to internet, we wanted to make that an option for anyone who lives along the river, even if in really rural areas where maybe net access is spotty, right? So you can sing us a song, you could write your own song, you could respond to the piece, you could follow the piece. And that part ended up being really exciting. It's kind of like one of those things, we're so focused on the exhibition, but we got such great contributions right away to the tributaries. I loved listening to all of them. And thinking about the person, they often would put a little information about what they were thinking about as they made that piece or why they chose that part of the piece to respond to, and tell us a little bit about where they are. So that part is really cool. So Tributaries on the website, othernamesfortheriver.com.
Awesome. I love this exhibit. I can't wait to see how it continues to grow. And Marisa DeMarco, thank you so much.